So for a look at top moving stocks in today's market, Jenny Horn's with us, markets correspondent here on Schwab Network, taking a look at Nvidia, of course, always in the headlines. And today, no different. It's working on a new chip to meet some China export restrictions. Let's hear a little bit about Nvidia this morning. Jenny, good morning.
Good morning, Nicole. I have to say that after a blistering week for Nvidia and the rest of the tech and chip trade last week, it's nice to see some upside today as we are up about 3.7% on the session here in real time. But following what was objectively good news for Nvidia, because of course this massive geopolitical export overhang I think has been a pretty major concern. I think actually for quite some time over the course of this year, it almost felt like we were very quick to forget that. Like the muscle memory of the trade of Nvidia feels very short-lived, because this has been, I think, a pretty major headwind that we've sort of been able to brush off until the last several weeks. But news today that they're working on a new version of their flagship AI chip for the China market that would be compatible with these current U.S. export controls. Now, according to two of these sources first reported by Reuters, Nvidia will work with Inspur on the launch and distribution of that B20 chip, with shipments slated to start in the second quarter of 2025. We did also see lots of analysts that had nothing but positive things to say about Nvidia today, as Citi did open a 30-day positive catalyst watch on shares ahead of this major conference, where we could hear from, of course, their CEO as well as Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, that this analyst believes they'll be likely discussing the future of AI and the various ways that Nvidia could be really seeing their ARM-based Gray CPU for servers and what that really looks like. So more context on that this analyst is looking for, and they also did say that the CEO discussions should actually shed positive light on how Nvidia's end customers make their money or their return on equity profile, which is top of mind for many investors at this current time. So I know that we always panic when we see Nvidia turn over, as we have, because it does feel very much like it brings down the overall market. But when you still look at the last several years, it still feels like a blip. And I know we've pulled back substantially from highs, but if you look at the long-term picture, this is still one of the best performing stocks this year, and by a huge margin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Citi call, with the 30-day positive catalyst watch, it almost feels like an options trade at this point, but it's at 122. It went up to 140. People were so excited at 130 and 140, only to see it sink down below 120 again. So it certainly has been volatile. Very interesting to see this call, this new price target, right? 150. These tech stocks, the question is, are they in or out? And that's sort of, and the head of Market Watch today, they even noted some stocks, I think the lead was Nvidia, Supermicro, and Broadcom, and 22 other stocks most likely to crash. No one really knows where we're going. Jenny, final thoughts?
And I think that's what's so, I think, alarming ahead of these tech earnings. And obviously we could see fantastic results and the market could rally. I think that's obviously the bullish case at this point. But on the other hand, you have the Mag 7 that are dominating what's expected, the overall growth for the S&P's earnings and revenue. Without the Mag 7, their growth rate for earnings, at least projected this quarter in the S&P, is cut in half. So that just speaks to the magnitude in which these companies have dominated the market. Nvidia, one day last week, shed $180 billion in market cap alone. So I always think that's concerning when so much is riding on one name, but obviously, at least to start this week, things are looking positive. Green, because naturally Nvidia is green.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we would look to the semis and that would drive the market. You're right. Good to see you, Jenny Horn, markets correspondent.